Starting this session, and so it is being recorded. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you all as well. Lenore, you have to know that's one of my favorite names. It was on the list of names I wanted for my daughter. We ended up going with Leona instead of Lenore. You should also be able to see my screen. So just also a housekeeping thing. I want to make sure you all can hear me. You all can see my screen. We're going to be going through really how to manage your listings, some marketing tools that are available to you, as well as how to create action plans. Today, the speed will be fairly quick. That is part of the reason that this is being recorded. And you will get a video of the recording emailed to you today. It will also be posted on our Facebook channel, our Facebook group. If you're not a member, we would highly encourage you to join us. Great place to ask questions. We do live videos on here as well so that you can learn. We also have a YouTube channel, which is a really good resource for you all as far as going in and being able to actually say, hey, I want to know more about portals. And you can actually go in and say, okay, here's everything that's happening. So if you haven't followed our YouTube channel, please subscribe. You also can join us on our Facebook group, typing in Realistiq users, and we'll get you into that membership as well. But we're going to jump right in. As you have questions, as always, please ask them. There's no such thing as a silly question. If you have a question, someone else also has that question, and we want to make sure that you are feeling good about your life. So last week we went over a little bit on how to set up your profile, how to actually go in and manage your clients, add custom fields, and today we're really going to be diving into what you can do with your listings, marketing as far as doing postcard orders, email marketing, as well as email campaigns, and how to actually go in and set up an action plan. You've got a couple types of action plans available to you as well. So without further ado, let's jump right into those listings. So when you get a listing in IQ Office, we are pulling from your IQ Office every 5 minutes. So from MLS to IQ Office every 5 minutes. And we are pulling all of the information out of IQ Office. You are going to be getting an email that looks very similar to this email that I'm sharing with you right now on my screen. And that actually is going to say, hey, congratulations on your new listing. Here's all the detailed pages. Also, if you'd like to download or customize your flyer or your property postcard, let's get the ball rolling with that as well. Hey, JR. It may just be you. Is it just, Christy, is it just this screen that I'm sharing this email, or is it? Okay, I can see if I can make it smaller and if that would help. So once you get this email, you can easily go in, you can actually customize a flyer, you can order your postcards right from there. But there is a lot that you can do. And what I would like to do is just open up a listing and show you, give you a little bit, awesome, get you a little bit more information. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to share that screen again. Let's see if I make it. Now I made it tiny, tiny. Actually, hang tight while I'm getting this figured out really quick. Is that better? Awesome. Thank you for letting me know that. So within your portal, to get to your listings, you're actually going to go either here to this listings tab on the left-hand side of the screen, or you can actually go into the active listings here on your dashboard. And it is going to bring up a screen that looks like this. When you go in and you actually start to work a listing, you can open up that listing. Actually, I'm going to do a residential one so we have some pictures of a house. And you can see everything that's happening with that listing. So you can see all of the photos associated with it. You can easily share any of the information. So you can actually see a details page, a showcase page, and a branded SLW. What a branded SLW is it's a single listing website. It is actually branded here at the top. Please ignore the screen that you're seeing right now with that listing information. So actually, this toolbar is actually branded to the address. And you can easily see the description, all the photos. You also can see information about the area, including the schools. And you can search for other areas in that zip code or within that city. So I got there just by clicking on the website next to the details or the showcase page. You also can go in, you can easily share it to your social media by clicking share. It's going to automatically link to your social media. So you can easily go down, you can say, hey, I want to choose this. I want to choose the page I manage, and I want to post something about this. So you have a lot of tools within that listing screen as far as sharing this on social media. All of these images are uploading direct from MLS, and sometimes your MLS does export, depending on your MLS, higher resolution photos. Most of the time, though, they do size those to a smaller resolution. So know that you can actually go in here. You can choose to drag and drop and rearrange the photos. You also can choose to upload photos. So you can say, hey, I need to add more information. You will always get this just to warn you that by editing the images, this property will no longer download images from the MLS. So if you want to upload your own images, it's going to stop updating those images from the MLS just so that you don't undo something that you think you're updating. Does that make sense to everyone? So if you make changes in your IQ office, they are not going to feed to MLS. It's actually going to say, hey, Christy went in, she updated her photos. She wants this to be the way they are displayed on her website. So we are no longer going to look to the MLS to update the photos. Does that make sense to everyone? Awesome. There's also a section in here that's really neat called the story. So you can actually go in and underneath the contact information, you can add the seller. And you can say, hey, I'm going to add the seller. You click their name, and then they're attached to the listing. Once that happens, that seller gets a portal where they can log in, they can see the details of their listings, they can see the referred reports, so how people are getting to the website for their listings. It's a great way to set people up. And to open up a seller portal, all you have to do is attach that seller to the property, which is pretty slick. Any questions on that and the seller property or the portal? I'm guessing that silence means you're good to go, and we're going to keep on keeping on. So underneath this actions tab, this is where you can actually go in and you can add an action plan. You can also attach actions or follow-ups directly to a listing underneath that actions tab. What I really want to go through is the open house section and the reports section. So we'll start with the reports. This is a really cool feature, and it's really cool, in my opinion, for two reasons. One, at a listing appointment, you can offer something to your seller or potential seller that nobody else can offer. So you can actually go in and say, hey, Randy, I'm super excited about that you want to sell your home. I know moving is a big deal, and choosing a real estate agent is a really important thing. And what I want you to know is I'm not only going to set you up with this portal so that you can log in and search for other homes and see what else is on the market, but I'm also going to set up some reports to send to you. So we can send them every week, every other week, or once a month. You can also log into that portal at any time and see those statistics. And what that's going to include is all the competition, all the web activity, and all of the details on your home. So you come up here and you can say, hey, I want to send it every week, every 2 weeks, or every 4 weeks. You go in and you put the range for the price. You can put the square foot range. You can put the acreage range. And then you can either choose by zip code, by community name, and to choose a community, you click on the none selected, and it's actually going to pull up all of the communities that are listed within your MLS. So you could go in and you could say, okay, I need it to be this subdivision and this subdivision and this subdivision, and click OK. You can always preview that email. So right now what it's doing is it's actually looking and figuring out what MLS information needs to be included. And it will always put you, the listing agent, at the top. And it's going to show all the information. So all the web activities, how that listing appeared in the search for the last 4 weeks, listing views on website over the last 4 weeks, and it breaks it down by day. You can also see all the competition. So you can easily preview that information as well. And you set that up to send however often you would like to have it send out. The really nice thing about this is it's automatic. So the first thing that's nice is you can talk about it at a listing appointment, and it gives you that listing edge when you're at a listing appointment that you're going to not only provide them with what their competition is and what a portal to search for property, but you're also going to include how much web activity their listing is getting on a daily basis. And they can receive that information either daily if they log in, or you can email it to them weekly, bi-weekly, or once a month. Once you set this up to send out, it automatically sends out. Are there any questions on this showing reports section? We got there by opening up the listing and then going over and into the reports tab and setting the parameters for that report. Any questions? Perfect. So the next thing I want to talk about is this open house screen. So on this open house screen, you can actually see all the open houses that have been scheduled for that property as the listing agent. There actually have been some studies done recently that say, and surveys done that say that when buyers are looking for homes, one of the keywords that they are searching in their home search is open houses. So it does really behoove you to put your open houses in here. To add an open house, you just click the plus new button in the upper right-hand corner, and then you would put in who's hosting the open house, the day and the time of the open house, and click finish. You can also add multiple open houses at the same time. So if you're doing an open house there every Friday, you can add all your times at the same time. These go out on your company website. They also go out to, it's really easy to share them on social media. It's really a really great feature. You can also see all the open houses that your company is having by going to this open house tab. And the really neat thing about this, so I just went to listings and then to open houses, is if I go to this website, I'm actually just going to open up this website for this house really quick. it's going to showcase that open house at the top of the screen. So when I look at this open house, I can see that Frank is hosting it open, and it shows that he is holding it open. However, if Karen is the listing agent and Christy is the host agent for the open house, Karen's information is going to show here, and Christy's information is going to show here. So it will display both agents' information. Yes, Karen, you can add open houses for others in the office if you're holding them open. And JR, it doesn't. So IQ pulls from MLS. It does not push information to MLS. And Christy, that depends on your MLS. Some MLSs do feed out open houses, and so that is possible, but some MLSs do not feed out open house information, so that's not possible. So that just depends on your MLS. Does that answer all those questions? Christy, did that answer your question? Okay. Sure. Perfect. So if you're scheduling an open house, JR, you're going to actually first select the property, and then you're going to put the hosted by information here. So you choose the agent that's holding it here as you're scheduling that open house. The next thing that's really neat about these open houses is you actually have access to a digital sign-in page for your open house. So you can actually go in and on the open house page, I went to actions and went to sign in page. It opens up a page that shows the front of the home as well as information about the home. So this is a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom, 2,600 square foot house with a 2-car garage. And people can go in and actually fill out their information here, and it becomes a lead for the agent who's hosting the open house. Let me pull up a demo account really quickly so that I can show you how that works and how that lead comes through. So once we're in here, the client would put their name in. They can say when they're looking to move, now, 1 month, 12 months, I'm not looking to move. They also can put the comments in. How many of you have been in the business for longer than a year? Perfect. So a couple of you for sure, and you know how difficult it is sometimes to get people to sign into an open house when they have a piece of paper out there waiting for someone to sign. Sure, JR, ask your question, and I'll answer it. So the nice thing about this is all the information is confidential. I always ask people when they come in if they're working with an agent. So I would say, hey, JR, nice to meet you. My name's Kelsey. I work with XYZ Real Estate Company. I'm really excited that you're here. Are you working with anyone? Do you have any questions? JR says, yep, I'm working with an agent. I'm going to say, perfect. JR, super excited that you have someone that you trust. I'd love to have you look at the home. For safety purposes, I do ask that everybody registers. It's a confidential registration point. And can you just put your agent's name in that comment box so that I know who to follow up with and I know not to reach out to you because you already have an agent. So I put their agent's name in here and then they sign in. What's really nice is then your client or the person that walks in can instantly have this property texted to them and emailed to them. The screen will time out within 30 seconds and it goes right back to this sign-in page. So now when you look at your text messages as the agent hosting, you actually have a text from the agent or from the system that says, I'm just pulling up my text messages here in real life so y'all can see that it's real time. Here it is. You can see here, Kelsey, thank you for stopping by the open house today. Click here to view the details of the property. It clicks through. It takes them to my website. It also shows all the information about the home so they instantly have information. So as an agent who's worked with people before, is this something that you would think would bring value to your open houses? Isn't that cool, Karen? It's a huge value proposition. It's a way to stay safe at open houses. It's a way to get information from people. It's also a way to know if they're working with an agent who you need to follow up with so that you're on top of your game. Hey, JR's already working with an agent. No big deal. What's that agent name? I call that agent. I say, hey, you had a client that came through the open house that I did. I would love their feedback of their home. Agent says, oh, I didn't know they came to your open house. And you say, they did. And they actually let me know they were working with you. You look like a hero. You get the feedback you need. You also get that contact information from that client so that you know how to follow up. Awesome. So we just went through all the listings, how to share on social media. We also went through how those open houses get scheduled and those tools. We're about 22 minutes in, and I do want to make sure that we get to spend some time underneath this marketing tab. And the first place we're going to go underneath there is my orders. So you can actually go in and you can order postcards through the IQ system. You can actually see what's happened. So the status of your orders, the payment, how many have been completed, what's going on. To start a new order, you click the plus order in the upper right-hand corner. And that brings up this screen. From this screen, you can actually choose from a lot of different postcards. And if you use this category button, you can say, okay, I need to actually go in and I want to do, maybe you want to do a just sold postcard. So I can go in, I can see all the different layouts that are available. I can say, okay, just sold. I'm going to do this postcard. And I'm going to select the first property of, let's see, I'm going to say, here we go. We're going to go pending show. I can also type in an MLS number when I'm doing this search. So right now it's reaching out. It's getting all the information. It's inserting the photo. I can go select property 2. I can just type in the MLS ID here. So let's say here I need to use this one. And it's going to enter that information in, as well as the price. And the third property, I would do the same thing. Physical postcards. So JR, we're going to get to email postcards, but these are actual physical postcards. So you can farm an area. You can change all of these photos on the back. So I can say, hey, I need to change this image, or I need to upload an image. I can actually go in and do that. All of this, anything that shows with a pencil is something that you can edit. If you don't want text in there, you can just delete it out. It will take that text out for you. And then once you've gone through editing the screen, you would go to the next button, save and continue. So then I can actually choose. So I can choose from my contact types. So I could actually go in and I could say, hey, I need to send this to my past clients. And it's going to show you how many people you have in that contact type. Notice that there is a minimum order of 100. So if you don't have 100 people in all these contact types, I have 97. What you would want to do is have them delivered to the office. So you could actually say, hey, I need 100 delivered to my office. I also need 100 delivered to a targeted address. It is automatically going to pull the first property that you put into the postcard. But if you're farming a specific neighborhood, you can actually go in and put in a specific address. And then I'm going to just put in a note so that they don't process my order. And I'm going to click save and continue. So my next step is to go in and actually say, okay, here's my order summary. Here's all the information. And then the next thing I'm going to do is go to the payment screen. On your first order, it's going to ask you for your credit card information. Once you've put in your credit card information for your first order, it's going to save that credit card information in the system, and you can actually click submit payment. You also can click pay later if you want to do it later, and it's going to show you the status here of pending status for processing and pending payment status. It will also show you the dates of when this goes out. Please, you can send by contact type. You just have to have a minimum of 100 to do the order, JR. So JR asked, do you have to enter each one individually, or can you send out by contact type? And you can send out by contact type, absolutely. You just have to make sure you have 100 people in that contact type, because there is a minimum order of 100. Does that make sense? Awesome. So what's going to happen is as this order gets processed, you're going to get an email that says, here's your proof. You can make changes. Until you approve the postcard, it won't go out. It does take about 10 days to process these. So we work really hard to get them turned around to you for editing within 24 hours. You're going to make your edits. Depending on how many edits you have, that may go back and forth. The sooner they're approved, the sooner they get printed. They're to the printer within 2 business days of approval. And then the post office typically takes between 5 and 7 days to process them. So you can see here that I added this order on 6/18 and it was mailed out on 6/25. And this part is the printer or the post office processing those postcards. If you need to go back in and edit an order, you click on the actions and you can edit everything in that order. You also, if you decide, hey, I've got this payment pending, I don't want to do this anymore, you can actually go in and delete that order as well. If you have addresses that have been rejected, they will show underneath this rejected tab. If you have orders that are pending, they will show under this pending tab. And you do get email notifications on what's happening with your orders. Are there any questions about how to actually go in and create an order? There's a lot of really cool postcards in here. I also want to just quickly mention, just because it says looking for a real estate agent, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the text that has to stay here. So keep an open mind when you're doing this. This could be something that you're talking about. Maybe instead of that, you're going to say a community garage sale. And you're going to put the information, June 4th, this street, please join us. So you actually can change all of this text to be customized to whatever information you would like to send out. It does not necessarily have to be a main, remain the same. Randy, you said no, that does not make sense. Or no, you don't have any questions. Thank you. So the next thing I want to go through is actually creating flyers and, oh, no worries. Creating flyers and creating emails to go out. So the best practice to do this is to actually go into My Saved Content, and you can go to that underneath print marketing or e-marketing. Either place goes the same way. And now you're on your content dashboard. So what we're going to do is we're going to add content. And when you do that, it's going to open a wizard that looks really similar to the postcard ordering system. It's a wizard. You're going to walk through. It's going to tell you how to do things. So you can actually choose. There's blank content. There are also some company templates that your company may have put in here. You can always go in and you can say, okay, I need to actually go in and I'm going to do, maybe let's start with a property flyer. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to do a just reduced property flyer. I'm going to choose this green flyer. And the first thing I'm going to do is select the property. So again, this is pulling from MLS. I'm going to go in and I'm going to choose a property. And it's going to automatically insert the information about the listing here. So I can actually see all the listing information. It's got the listing description. I can actually edit that description if I would like. So if I need to go in and actually change spelling of something, I can do that. And I can change all of these things that I can highlight, I can change. I also highly recommend you dating your flyers that you make. The reason for that is you may relist in your career one property several times, and you may have several flyers in here. It's very helpful if you've named them with a date so that you can go back and look them up. You also, it's best practice to add a category name. And that is really for actually when you go to search. So I have it in the category flyers reduced. I've got the name. I've got all this information. When I go back and I hit close, I can actually say the category is flyers reduced. And now it's bringing up everything in that category. So I don't have to search through pages and pages and pages to find the flyer that I just made. Everybody feel good about that? So we went to marketing, my saved content. We added new content, and that was a property flyer. Now, you also can create blank content. So if you wanted to do a letter that you wrote, you can do that. You also can do some actually really cool. So you could do like a home value. There's some e-flyers in here. You can actually go in and you can say, hey, I want to do an anniversary. Let's see. We're going to do a home anniversary event. So I can say, I want to do this happy anniversary home. Home anniversary. I'm going to call it home anniversary blue 2019. And I'm going to call it home anniversary. So home anniversary blue 2019 year one. I'm actually just going to call this year one. And then I can change. So I can say congratulations. But maybe I want to say you made it. Congratulations on the 1 year down. Okay, and you can change all that. You can change your name if you need to do that. It will automatically put your company logo in, and then you click save. So you can go in and you can create a whole bunch of different kind of content for you to use and send out. If you need to print something out, say you made this flyer the day before, you can actually go in. You can say, hey, I need to print this. You do need to make sure that your pop-up blocker is not on. So it's going to process, and then it's actually going to pop up in another tab so that I can actually print it out as a PDF. You also can email it out. So here it says pop-up blocked. We're always going to say always allow. And now it's going to pop up. Any questions so far on flyers? How to create them? It's really nice when you're making a property flyer to just be able to type in that MLS address and have all the photos automatically drop in. Here's my flyer. Here's all the information. Here's my name. It's done. It's ready to go. I can also just email it out here from here. So I can actually say, okay, I'm going to send this. I'm going to send it to, I can type that person's name in. I can change the subject. And I can click send. Now, what if you want to send it out to more than just one person at a time? How do you do that? And really, the best practice for that is to create a campaign, an email campaign that's based on contact type. So if y'all are ready for that, we're going to jump right into how do I create an email campaign where I can put a whole bunch of different emails in and have them automatically go out for me. Are you ready for that? If you don't type yep in the text box, I'm assuming y'all are shaking your head yes. Perfect. So once you've created your content, you've gone in, you've got some flyers going, you've got things going on, you actually can go into marketing, and then you're going to go into my campaigns. And that's going to take you to a screen that looks like this. It's going to show you all your campaigns. It also will show you some statistics next to them about how many have been sent, attempts have been made, how many have been sent, how many views there have been, how many clicks. It really breaks it down. To create a new campaign, you click the plus campaign in the upper right-hand corner, and you actually can say, okay, I'm going to create a new campaign. I'm going to first choose from my content that I've already created. I'm going to do a happy homeversary year 1, and it's going to automatically edit that in here. When you're writing your subject line, keep in mind what you open when you get emails. If you leave this to home anniversary blue year 1, no one is ever going to open it. So you're going to name this something like congrats on first year. The title is how you're going to organize it. So if I just wanted to call this first year, and then I have the option of choosing when I send it. So you can send it using a date, which doesn't make sense for this type of campaign, but you could say, hey, I need this to go out on Friday. So if you were hosting an open house or there was a reduction coming that you knew was going to be processed on Friday, or a sold property that was going to go out, you could choose a specific date and time for that email to go out. The next choice you have is to have it go out on the first of a month. So you could actually create content that was based on things that were happening that month. So you may have a list of homeowner honey-dos that need to be done each month, and they can get sent out every year on January 1st and every year on February 1st. And you'd add multiple events with that as the send date. Your next choice is to send out on a holiday or birthday. So you actually can send out birthday cards through the system based on the contact's birthday in their profile. Or you can send out Mother's Day cards or 4th of July cards. It's going to send these out on that holiday. You can send out on an interval. So you can say, hey, I've actually got an interval campaign. when someone's added to it, I need this email to go to them on the first day, and then this other content to go to them on the third day, and this other content to go to them on the fifth day. You just type the number of days you want the system to wait before they send it out in that interval. The nice thing about an interval style campaign is you can have content that is timeless. So whether if I have Lenore, Christy, Randy, and JR all in a campaign, and I add Lenore, and then 5 days later I add Christy, and 5 days later I add Randy, and 5 days later I add JR, they're all getting the content based on the interval days that I gave them, and they're not going to step 3 because they haven't gotten step 1 yet. Does that interval make sense to everybody? Cool. The day of the week, so you actually could have an email that maybe you sent out on Monday or Tuesdays, and maybe it's something like a, hey, just your weekly check-in, wanted to touch base and see how you were doing. It's just an email that goes out once a week on a certain day. And then you also have a transaction date. So this transaction date is also in that client portal. And you can actually say, hey, I want this to go out 1 year after their transaction date. And then I would click next. I only want to change if I changed anything, I only want to do it for this event. And then I have the option to add recipients. You can add recipients here by clicking, or you can click finish and done, and it's going to show your campaign here. If I click to edit that campaign, it's going to open that campaign up, and I can see this is my first year. The subject is congratulations on your first year. It's going to send on the transaction date plus 1 year. Now you can go in and you can continue to add events to this campaign. So you can go in and you can say, okay, I need to choose from my content that I've created. I'm going to do, maybe I'm going to do a holiday. I'm going to choose this holiday. I'm going to send it on the 4th of July. I'm going to send it after 11 a.m. I'm going to go ahead and click finish. Perfect. And now I've got 2 events in that campaign, one sending on the 4th of July, one sending on a transaction date plus 1 year. What's really cool is that send on date, you can have a campaign that has multiple ways of sending. So you can have a campaign that has send on dates. Some things are intervals, some things are holiday. You can really build a campaign with many events in it that works for you and your business. Now, how do you add people to the campaign? To add people to your campaign, you go up and you click plus recipients. When you do that, you have contacts. You can add individual contacts. You have agents, so you can add individual agents in your office. You can add and put people in offices that you work with at your company in these. You also can add contact type. My advice to you is create campaigns based on contact types. So if you have a contact type that is a hiking contact type, you know that everybody that's in that campaign enjoys hiking, and you can create the content around the contact type rather than trying to make sure that you're getting valuable content to everybody. Does that make sense? JR, I don't know if you're asking why or you're saying yes. Perfect. So you add your people in, you click finish, and it works. The best part about this is once I'm back on my campaigns, I can actually see who my top viewers are. I can actually scroll down and I can see what my top events are. I also can open individual events or campaigns, and I can say, okay, I can see this homes new to the market has had 75 events. It's had 34 views. I can go down and I can see that that's the most views. I can see who my top viewers are. I can see who's on the do not send list. So you really can start to see who and how these are being populated in a way that makes sense to you. You also can go in and click activity, and you can see all of the activity and when it was sent last and when it was clicked on. Any questions on this part? Awesome. So something that we've touched on, I just want to make sure y'all know where this is, and then we're going to jump into action plans. As we talked about adding a birthday and adding a transaction date. So you can actually go into a contact, and about halfway down here, you can add their birthday. You also can go at the very bottom, you can add the transaction date. So in their transaction address, so that the system automatically knows when it's their birthday and when it's their last transaction was. So that's where that is. Transaction date, birth date. Don't forget to hit the save button, but that's where those campaigns are pulling that information from. Cool. So we've got about 15 minutes. I do want to make sure we get through action plans because that's a really big part of setting yourself up for success. Do any of you have a list? So a list of what you need to do for a certain contact type. So if I have a buyer, I have a list of things I need to be doing for my buyer. Or if I have a new listing, I have a list of things I need to do to make sure that listing is up and running. Anybody have a list of action items for a client type? I know some of you are brand new into the business. Perfect. So Randy's new. Awesome, Randy. Welcome. A really good idea as you're new and you're getting started is to really start building your list of if and when I take my first listing, I'm going to do these 12 things. When I'm working with a buyer, these are the times that I'm going to be checking in on. Most of you probably have that list that you do either mentally or on a series of sticky notes for yourself. And so what I want to talk to you about is how to digitize that process. So we're actually going to click the plus new button in the upper right hand corner, and we're actually going to name this, action plan online leads. And this action plan type is contacts and leads. This option down below, you don't need to worry about. This is something that is coming soon, and so just know that there'll be more information on that when it's released. Once I click save, it's actually going to open up the edit screen for that action plan. So I can actually go in and I can start to build action plan items. So this is a contacts or leads plan. So I'm going to say, hey, I need to send out an automatic email. This is going to be a welcome portal email. And I'm going to add the subject line of welcome, or I'm going to say your own portal to search the MLS. Live, I want it to be due the same day that it happens. I want to send it 15 minutes after they're added to this action plan. I do not want it to repeat, and I want to send it from me, the agent, to the contact, and now I'm going to search for my content. Now, we've already created a whole bunch of content. And so now what we're doing is we're actually just going in, we're searching through our content that we have, and we're adding it to the campaign or to the action plan. Now I can see here it is. It happens immediately. I'm then going to add them to a campaign. Item name, email campaign. I want this to happen one day after. I want them to go on to my online leads email campaign. I'm going to add a follow-up item request, and I'm going to call this my bi-weekly check-in. I want it to be due 7 days after. I don't want to blacklist myself. I want to repeat it. I want to repeat it every 14 days. I want it to repeat 50 times. I don't want to be able to snooze it. So you can continue adding all of these actions. Once you're done, you click save. And now I have an online leads action plan. It's a contact type. So now I've digitized my list of everything I need to do for my online leads follow-up in less than 5 minutes. You can do the same thing for your listing. So you can actually click action plan name, and we're going to call this my new listing action plan. We're going to make it a listing action plan. And again, I'm going to add items. So I am going to add a follow-up request. This is going to be my weekly web hit report. Look at the seller report to see what is going on. Now, this is something that I'm going to be doing for the listing, not for the client. I'm going to repeat this every 7 days. I'm going to go in so that when my seller calls me and asks me about that report, I've actually looked at it. I can click save. I can go in and I can say, okay, I need to do a social share. I need this to be a Facebook post. One, it's due the day after its listing. Is it visible to the seller in the seller portal? Yes or no. Is it required? Yes or no. And then you can add it. You can truly go in and say, hey, I need to order my buyer's neighborhood postcard. I need to do that on the 5th day of having it listed. No, I don't want that visible to the seller, and click save. And you can really start to build your plan and fine-tune your plan and work your plan. So if you want to attach an action plan to a contact, you go into your contacts and leads. You would open up that lead, and you actually can go over. If they don't have an action plan, they'll get a blue bar at the top, and you can click plus assign. It will bring up all the action plans that you have and your office has. You also can go to your actions tab, and you can say, hey, I need to add an action plan here. I'm going to add my online leads action plan, and I'm going to click save. Anything that does not have a due date means that your IQ office is going to automatically do that for you. Once I go back to my main dashboard, I can actually go in and I can see here that I have a bi-weekly check-in with my contact. It's due in 6 days. So now I'm really working my list because I spent time going in, creating my saved content, creating my campaigns, making an action plan that I can apply to my contacts. What if you want your action plan to automatically apply to leads that come in? You can do that. You can actually go up into your name. You would go to profile, and underneath preferences, there is a section, new lead action plan, and you can actually go in and you can say, hey, I need this to be my online leads action plan, save, and now any new lead that comes in that I get is automatically going to be put on that online leads action plan for me. So now you're spending your time actually working your plan, going in and really working hard to engage with people you're not spending time trying to remember what you're doing or what needs to be done or if you did it or not. Once you have an action that's completed, you can actually go in. So say you talked to the lead before, you can change the status of the lead. You can say, hey, reached out via social to see where she was at in the buy process. Save. And it completes off your list. The next action is automatically assigned and it will show up here when you get closer to that date. So again, to create those action plans, we went to Tools, My Action Plans, created a new action plan, and then we added events to that campaign or to that action plan. Any questions there on any of that? Are your brains just spinning? It's a lot of information. So where do you begin? The first thing that I would like you all to do before we get off the phone today is look at your calendar and figure out a time in the next week that you're going to go in and you're actually going to create a couple pieces of content. You're going to create an email campaign, and you're at least going to start writing out on paper what you want your action plan steps to be for an online lead and for a new listing. So again, that was, you're going to create content. You're going to create a campaign. And you're going to start listing actions for online leads and for a new listing. You're not going to actually create your action plan, but you're going to at least start physically writing them down on a piece of paper so that you know what it is you'd like to add. So Karen's doing it tomorrow. JR, Randy, Christy, Katya, when are you doing it? Block out about an hour of your time. Perfect. Awesome. Perfect. Awesome, Teresa. So this is what I found. If you don't put it on your calendar, you're never going to do it. And so it is really important that you put it on your calendar. The next thing that I really want you to know is you're going to get frustrated with technology. We all get frustrated with technology. It's the reason that we all still have a job. We are here to help. So please make sure that you're asking questions on that Facebook page. You also can go to that YouTube channel and search. I'm going to go ahead and actually paste the links into the chat box so that you can easily go find these things. There is the YouTube channel. Here is our Facebook group. We would love to have you join us. And the only silly questions are the questions that are unasked. So getting in, starting to build things. Next week, we actually talk about editing your website in the afternoon on Monday so that you know how to actually log in and do that. We're super excited to have you on the platform, and I hope you all have a great day. You're welcome, Krista. Christy, you're welcome, Katya. Thank you, Karen. You were a trooper today, 2 in a row. You're welcome, Randy. Have a great day.